Well, as Delaware readies for the upcoming launch of the state's legal adult use cannabis industry, state lawmakers approved legislation proposed by State Treasurer Colleen Davis providing protections for banks and other financial institutions that serve licensed marijuana businesses. Although marijuana remains illegal at the federal level, Delaware has joined many other states in legalizing it for medical or adult use purposes. Treasurer Davis believes the legislation protecting banks serving legal marijuana businesses can help bridge the gap between state legalization and federal banking laws. House Bill 355, sponsored by Representative Ed Osinski and Senator Trey Parody, clarifies that providing financial services to legal cannabis businesses is lawful under Delaware state law. Passage of the bill removes a major barrier for the cannabis industry, which has struggled to access traditional banking services due to the continued federal classification of marijuana as a Schedule I drug. In a quote, "This legislation is a critical step forward in Delaware's cannabis industry," said State Treasurer Colleen Davis. She also says, "By ensuring safe access to banking services, we are empowering legitimate businesses to operate transparently and securely." The passage of HB 355 marks a pivotal moment for Delaware's legal marijuana industry and the financial institutions that will support it. By providing clear legal protections and a solid regulatory framework, if signed into new law, it will protect the safety, security, and long-term viability of this sector of our economy. In a quote, "Across the country, we've witnessed dispensaries and banks alike struggling with legal uncertainty surrounding financial and accounting services for cannabis businesses. This uncertainty not only undermines the operations of state-compliant dispensaries, but also hinders their access to basic business functions such as access to banking, acquiring loans, or paying taxes," said Representative Olsinki. In a quote, "We want Delaware's safe and regulated industry to come out and compete with the illegal market. By providing dispensaries with a secure avenue to bank and comprehensive services, we empower them to contribute positively to our economy, keep costs down for the industry and customers, employ local talent, and mitigate their tax obligations. At the end of the day, cannabis retailers in Delaware are small businesses, and they will be in our communities. They will hire Delawareans, and they will pay their taxes. They will contribute to the economic development of this state," said Senator Trey Parody. But with an over-reliance on cash transactions, retailers are at a disadvantage in terms of banking compliance and safety needs. With the passage of this legislation, the state can ensure that these types of businesses have a clear path towards access to those critical services. This legislation creates a safer environment for legally operating businesses within the state's marijuana industry, said Rob Koop, Commissioner of Delaware Office of Marijuana, the Marijuana Commissioner. And the legislation not only provides legal protections for financial institutions and service providers working with licensed marijuana businesses, but also strengthens regulatory oversight and facilitates compliance with tax regulations, he says. The bill aims to increase the willingness of banks and other financial institutions to serve legal cannabis businesses by providing legal clarity and certainty, promoting compliance and transparency in the cannabis industry, and reducing the risk of enforcement against banks involved in the industry. It will also reduce reliance on cash transactions among marijuana businesses and decrease the risk of robbery and theft. These safeguards will benefit businesses providing financial-related services and the retailers, and should incentivize customers to patronize legal licensed retailers instead of black market sellers, they say. The bill now awaits the Governor Carney's approval, you guys. Well, is just this the precursor to safe banking? I happen to think it is, just because it's Delaware, but I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. This is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all got to say about this?
Problems the federal government still. I mean, I agree with you, Jason, that every step towards a local state authorizing banking under state law puts pressure on the federal government. But 280E is still the killer for all the businesses I represent, and this doesn't change that, although it does give you access to funds that you can move around by ACH and electronic transfers and things like that. But it's still 280E that's the problem for my clients.
I think one thing that Jason said that's important to note is that specifically because it's a state of Delaware, which is a haven for business registration and that, I think that's where this becomes important, because party aside, whatever side of the aisle aside, I think we will see a hesitation from any administration or either party to move against such a business-friendly state like Delaware. There will be a lot of pushback on that. So, I mean, who knows whether this will actually cause some type of federal legislation to get passed, but I think because it's Delaware specifically, I think it's more important than if it was any other state.
I totally agree with that assessment. That is one of the reasons I wanted to cover this article today. So, exactly for that reason.
Yeah, man. It remains easier to, put together a shell company out in Delaware, laundering money across state borders, across international borders. You have no idea.
I mean, in all fairness, Rico, they say money is one of the dirtiest things that people touch. So maybe all money needs to be laundered.
I'll let you can make that argument in court, Jason. Yeah. When you're facing money laundering charges, you can make that argument.
I'll make that argument today in the court of public opinion and hear what you guys have to say about it.
Define dirt.
Yeah.
Joe.
Painted with cocaine, usually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think something like 80% of U.S. currency in circulation has traces of cocaine on it.
Every single $100 bill has traces of cocaine on it. Every single one of them.
It's been rolled up into a little straw a couple of times, probably.
Exactly.
Save the straws.
Oh, God. Save the straws. Save the straws.